GM friends, and thanks for tuning in to DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday, live on our Discord every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. This week, we are expecting the Ethereum ETF to launch, and PopCat is the first billion-dollar market cap cat coin. For today, we will review charts for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, PopCat, and for legacy markets, S&P 500, Dow Jones, Dollar Index, NASDAQ, gold, and 10-year bonds. And with that, over to GForce.
Thanks, Pepe. We'll start off with Bitcoin. So as everybody knows, that Bitcoin on July 4th pretty much tanked, and it got even further down on the 5th, but it rejected these levels. It rejected the 53,000 level, the 55,000 level, and just started to run back up again. So what I was looking for was it going to have a continual run back up? The first test was this recent high it had at 62,830. So it popped through that on the 15th, no problem. Went up to the 2x upper band and pulled back a little bit, which it should, because it had a good run. And then I really wanted to see this 65,500. I've had this line forever, as you can tell, all the way to the left. It seems to be a very support level, more or less than a resistance level. Sometimes it's resistance, but it's a long support level. So it has gone up, and on the 19th, it cleared through that. Basically, it closed at 66,707. And then it would run up the upper 2x band, okay? So it should keep running up, which it's done. It's pulled back a little bit since then. This is all basically back here on the 19th was after the RNC and Trump endorsing crypto. How much of endorsement, we'll see, but he definitely is endorsing it. And as I said, that'd be part of his policy, whatever that means. So that was the big pop the day after he accepted the RNC nomination. And that's the most I'm going to say about the politics. Anyway, moving on to that, it's popped up. Now we're going to see, is it going to come back down and test the 65,500 level? I think it will. I think it'll come back down. It's either going to tag it. Hopefully it stays above it on any kind of close during the days and then continue to go back up. But we'll see if this comes down to the 65,500 level again. And if it does, what's it going to do around that? Today, it's just moving. It's down over 1,000, then up less than 1,000 in trading days. So we'll see. Moving on to ETH. So the announcement for the ETH ETF is, everybody's thinking it's going to happen this week, but we can tell it's run up since then, since July 4th and the 5th, it's run up. It's coming around these levels here. So the first level I wanted to see to break was 33.52. Which it did back here on July 15th. July 15th was a big day for crypto, at least for the two major cryptos. Then it came back down, and I wanted to see if it would close below 33.52, which it didn't, and it just moved higher, just looking for any kind of announcement. But this ETF announcement's taken so long that I think it's taken all the gas out of the momentum. So you can see that they talked about a little bit of announcement this week, over the weekend, and it's come back down. So this was a support line at 34.69. I've had all the way back here since June 10th. You can see it ran across the support, and I'm looking to see if it'll pop back up and get above that 36.22 level. That's a recent high back around June 16th, June 17th, and hopefully it'll get back up to that level. I don't see why it wouldn't, but again, the issue is the momentum. Momentum seems to be fading, as you can tell after the July 15th momentum. Even though it's climbed, the momentum's fading, and you can see the standard deviation line is up, but it's flat and sideways. Same thing with the lower 2x band right here, even though the upper 2x band is climbing, so that's a positive. But momentum is waning with ETH. Moving on to Solana, Sol. Okay, so people talk about, okay, is TA appropriate for crypto? Does it even work for crypto? So it does, especially with the major coins, obviously Bitcoin and ETH, and Sol is getting there too. So if you look, I have a double top. Even though it doesn't look like a double top, it still is, because even though it's not completely sideways or flat, the double top here, the first part was reached on June 27th, okay? You don't know if it's a double top yet or not. So it goes down below the standard deviation line, which is right here. And then it moved back up again, and it closed higher than this top. So it closed at 154.34, where this one closed at 149.32. So that's a double top, and how do you know is because it went back down and it basically formed an M. Double tops and M's are the same thing. So what I was looking for was it going to get past this double top again at 153.90, 7, which it did. That's this line right here. And then it's climbed up the 2x band since. And you can see it just keeps climbing these last week. Now, since it had such a good run, it is going to pull back a little bit. But how much of a pullback? I don't think it's going to be much. So what we're going to look at here is this level. Is it going to get back up to the high it had back on May 22nd? That level is going to be significant, and it'll probably reach it. Obviously, it's pretty close right now. And we'll see if it does reach it, and it'll probably pull back again, and then see if we have some momentum on that. Okay, now we're going to look at PopCat. So looking at PopCat, it's now a $1 billion market cap.
Nice.
So it's definitely becoming a mature crypto market, and we'll see if TA is involved and actually pertains to it, which it does. So we had basically a recent high back here on June 30th. That high was at 0.6364. We see it pull back to the standard deviation line, and notice how it just ran along that standard deviation line, and then it just popped back up again. It went through that high, the recent high, at 0.6386, okay, and it's coming back up, and it's closed above the upper 2x band on the 15th, and it's just climbed up, pulled back like it should, because it gets overextended, okay? A lot of the trading gets overextended. You need to take a break, and then pull back up again, and you can see it going back down at this point. So how low will it go past this 74.44 level? If it does, then expect more of a pullback to the standard deviation line. If not, if it stays above that level, expect it to run back up to the 2x line. So congratulations on PopCat, $1 billion market cap, and we'll see. Now it's in the mature crypto market. Moving on to legacy markets. Okay, we're going to start off with Standard & Poor's 500, and it's had a huge run up also. So you can see this run up blew past the 5,600 level, had an ultimate high at 5667.27, and then it's come back down. So we've had a lot of politics going on, which unfortunately drives the markets at this point in time with the presidential election going on. So you can see, I consider undecisiveness of an uncertainty on the presidential ticket on the Democrat side, and the markets don't like, well, at least legacy markets, they don't like uncertainty. So you can see how it pulled back, still closed above the 5,500 level on Friday. Okay, it closed at 5504.99, so 4.99 points above the 5,500 level, but at least it closed above it. Okay, so now it moves up, okay, to the standard deviation line again, and it's starting to figure its way out. You can tell the chart is moving upward. It's still bullish, so I think it's going to climb back up past the 5,600 level, or at least tag it, and then we'll see. Once it tags it, we'll see what it does. It's not tagging it today because today's high is 55.85, so it still has a few more points to go with that, but it's still bullish at this point. Moving on to NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ 100, I really don't follow it that much. It's not as important to me as the S&P 500. You can see that it went up to the upper 2x bands, dropped back down. Last week, Wednesday, everybody had a bad day on that day. They're saying that things are moving out of AI. AI is losing momentum. It's just old news. And the market's always, okay, what are you going to do for me today? I want today's news. So it closed below, 3 times below that standard deviation line. And you can see the standard deviation line, which is the black line in the middle, is flattening out. So momentum has waned. I also put in blue stock charts in the Discord that NVIDIA is losing momentum as well. And here, we'll look at NVIDIA real quick. I'll throw that in there. You can see that it's dropped back down. And it needs to basically fill in this gap, which today it did. Okay, yesterday it didn't. I posted that in blue chip stock in the Discord. So it cleared that gap. We'll see what it does from here. But you can see after this huge run up, everything is looking very sideways. Okay, going back to indexes, look at the Dow Jones 30. So it's had an awesome run. It's maxed out basically at 41,198 and change, and it's pulled back since. So this pullback looks significant, but it's not that significant because it hasn't touched back down to the 40,000 level. So it's just hanging in there right now, and it's trying to figure itself out. These markets are trying to figure out the election. We have now a new Democratic candidate. So the uncertainty markets don't like uncertainty, and that's why you see the end of last week, Thursday, boom, had basically a negative over 500 point drop, 503. The next day, boom, over 300 point drop, 377. And markets just don't like uncertainty. So they don't know if the new president would be Trump or Kamala Harris, and they have an idea on Trump's policies, but policies could change, even though it would be an incumbent party that takes the office. Moving on to the dollar index. Dollar index has been tanking and coming back up. I've had this level 104 for a long time. It dropped below that, but sprung back up. So it rejected being underneath the 104 level, which is down here at the 2x line. So going back up, it's probably going to raise back up to the standard deviation line, which today is at 104.89. So the dollar index is just sideways. It's dropped, but it's going to climb back up. It's not really going to pick any direction. Again, we have an election coming up, so it's moving around. It's going to go up and down aimlessly. All right, going on to the US 10-year yield. Okay, so this is a yield, so everything's in percentages on the levels. So right now, it's staying around the 4.21% yield, and it dropped below, obviously, below that level last week, and now it's climbing back up. Yeah, I don't think it's going to stay this low. I think it's going to climb back up. We still have a little bit of inflation issues, as everybody can tell, at gas stations and grocery stores. People are trying to get used to it, but the main focus is now the elections. This yield is probably going to go sideways or down because the Federal Reserve has sat on the sideline for 9 meetings on pause with interest rates. And the hope is still that it will get a rate cut, that the Federal Reserve Bank will do a rate cut in September. If it does, you'll see the markets just pop like crazy. We'll see. Until that happens, we don't know. And the Federal Reserve Bank's happy to just sit on the sidelines. Gold is something I didn't really cover for years, but now I'm covering it because this year it's gone up like crazy. You can see just recently it had an all-time high of 2468. That level has been rejected, but it did clear that upper 2x band. So it's dropped back down to 2400 level. That level is turning in from resistance. You can see its resistance back here in middle of April. It popped and did a head fake up and came back down in May 20th. And now it's just now that level, that 2400 level is now support. You can see that it's ran back up. It's going to turn into support. So that level is important. It's a new important level. Will it go back down to 2300? Probably if the election's over with and people are happy with the new elected president and things calm down geopolitically. So as gold is very geopolitical sensitive, and it'll move up on those events. So today it's at 2404, and it'll look like it'll probably hover around that area and possibly climb back higher. If it climbs back up and hits past the recent high that it did, then it'll just keep moving higher and higher. We'll see how it goes at that point. All right, Pepe, back to you. That's all I have.
If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button for more crypto trading and overall market content. And that is it for this week. Join our server for daily charts, discussions, alpha, and more. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next week. And as a reminder, we have Zeely quests going on in the server with a $50 giveaway. Join our server to learn more. And friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFi-Logic.com.